As crazy as it seems, 2025 is coming to an end, so today I'm going to be taking a look at the exciting new cruise ships coming in 2026. Welcome back to another video, or welcome if you're new to the channel. My name is Brandon. If you're a cruise nerd just like me, you like cruise news videos or even some ship spotting, even live streams of ship departures, you're in the right place. Go ahead and subscribe down below if you're a cruise nerd just like I am. So 2025 was a very big year for the cruise industry as we got ships like MSC World America and even the world's largest cruise ship, Star of the Seas. Those are the two biggest rivals here, is those World Class and those Icon Class ships. But today we're going to be taking a look at all the ships we'll be seeing debut in the year of 2026. So we'll first start out with the Disney Adventure. This one actually was supposed to be a 2025 ship, but due to a few delays in the shipyard, she ended up getting pushed back to 2026. She'll be making her big debut in March over in Singapore. She's going to be the first ship for Disney Cruise Line based over in Asia. The recording date for this video is December 19th of 2025, and they actually took delivery of Disney Adventure earlier this week. So they've actually already taken possession of Disney Adventure, which is very, very exciting because that has been a very, very long build process for that ship. If you know where this ship originated from over with Star Cruises almost 10 years ago, you know how crazy of a life cycle it's been for this, but finally we are here with the Disney Adventure now in 2026. We're going to include her in the 2026 because she's not taking her first passengers until March of 2026. But as mentioned, this is the first ship in Disney Cruise Line's fleet to go visit Asia, which is a big market that they've been trying to get into for a very long time. And this ship kind of allowed them to make that big entry into that market that they wanted to. She'll be sailing a variety of 2 all the way up to 5+ night cruises from Singapore. Some of them are just cruises to nowhere, because at least me personally, I would want to go on that ship just to experience the ship. It is stunning from all the photos that I've seen. It even has a big split superstructure down the middle, but not in the back, unlike the Oasis class, which is split in the back and in the middle. So that's a really, really cool thing there that we haven't quite seen yet. The ship also is going to be the first ship for Disney Cruise Line over 200,000 tons and their largest ship in the fleet by almost 60,000 tons or more, as the Triton class or the Wish, Treasure, and the New Destiny are about 135 to 140,000 tons or so. So much, much bigger than anything we've ever seen in Disney Cruise Line's fleet. And of course, as you may know, if you know the history of this ship, which I plan to do an entirely dedicated video of that soon, almost like a little mini documentary of the build process of that ship, because it is very, very interesting how far that ship has come to finally be delivered to its official owner, Disney Cruise Line. Anyways, this ship also is set to include a roller coaster on board, which is the first outside of Carnival. Carnival is the only cruise line as of right now that has a roller coaster at sea on board the Mardi Gras celebration and the Jubilee, and now we'll see it here on the Disney Adventure. So at the 200,000 tons, she also will have a max capacity of about 6,000 passengers, which is, again, a largest by far for the Disney Cruise Line fleet. But of course, when you've got that big of a jump in size, it makes sense that you're going to have that big of a size jump in passenger capacity as well. So 6,000 passengers is actually pretty good size compared to the tonnage and the size of the ship compared to how many people are on board, as most ships that size, like the Oasis and the Icon class, are usually between 6,500 to 7,000. So we're looking at a lot lower guest capacity, even though we've got such a large ship. Moving on to our next one, this is probably one that I'm most excited for because I'm actually on one of the first few sailings for this ship, but that is going to be the Norwegian Luna, the 4th ship in Norwegian Cruise Line's Project Leonardo that has now become the Prima Class. Prima and Viva were the first 2 in the class, debuting at about 140,000 tons, which is much smaller, which is actually much smaller than the predecessor of the Breakaway Plus class of ships, with Encore being the most recent one. But as this class has grown in numbers, it has also grown in size, with the Norwegian Aqua coming in at 156,000 tons, and the Luna will be the same. But Norwegian Luna is set to make her big debut in April of this year, and again, I will be on one of the first few sailings, so stay tuned, because we're going to have some really early first looks of this amazing new ship. But she actually has something very unique that only her and Aqua have, which is the Aqua Coaster, at least in this type of format or design, as Disney does technically claim an Aqua Coaster as well, but not nearly to this, as Aqua and Luna both have where there's a staging area at the bottom and there's a big arm that actually catapults you up into the slide. So it's a hybrid roller coaster and water slide. So I'm definitely excited to try that out for myself. But if you've actually sailed on Aqua, let me know down in the comments if you tried it, because it seems really, really cool. Luna will be homeported in the Port of Miami, making 7-day cruises for her first inaugural season. The big change in size when it comes from Prima and Viva up to Aqua and Luna is that they're going to be expanding a lot of the outdoor deck spaces and even the Vibe Beach Club that's in the back of the ship. So this is where some of the new tonnage is coming from and some of the new size. So they are expanding on some of the areas and kind of making improvements as they go along with each iteration of the Prima Class. Unlike Prima and Viva, the water coaster is actually what's taking place of the go-kart track. So no go-karts on board Aqua and Luna. Let me know down in the comments, do you prefer the go-karts or do you prefer the Aqua coaster on these Prima Class ships? Another really cool thing that the Prima Class is home to is called the Indulge Food Hall, which during my recent tour of Norwegian Prima was probably one of my favorite things, is that it's an entirely separate area from the buffet, as the buffet on these ships is quite small, but it gives you a secondary buffet, but not quite in that buffet fashion. And what you do inside this food hall, and it's very similar to what Virgin Voyages does on their ships, because there's not a buffet on those ones either, but essentially you just walk around, you take a look and see what they have on the menus, and then you go find yourself a table, and you even will just pick out what you want on a tablet and they bring it out to you. So it's not quite a main dining room type experience, but it's not quite a buffet either. So it's really, really cool. I did get to try that out when I was on my recent tour of Norwegian Prima, and given my experience that I had on board Prima that day, I definitely will spend a lot of time there when I'm on board Norwegian Luna. Another one that I'm very, very excited for, but it's not even a ship that I'm even going to have a chance to see, is the MSC World Asia. The third ship in MSC's World Class is making her big debut over the Mediterranean in December of 2026. So we're actually just a little under 12 months away from the big debut of the third ship in the World Class. World Asia is basically set to offer and bridge the gap between the World Europa that made her debut in 2022 and bridge the gap between her and the World America that debuted earlier in 2025. As there are a lot of big differences, including the harbor, which is home to the giant ropes course and even a few other new activities there on board World America, including the cliffhanger, which is the first swing that actually hangs you out over the side of the ship, which seems like a very cool experience. World Atlantic, debuting in 2027, will have that as well. But World Asia will be bringing all of those favorites over from World America over into the Mediterranean in that same World Class style that we saw on World Europa. She's another ship that's over 200,000 tons at 215, but a passenger capacity of 6,700. So about 700 passengers more than what we see on the Disney Adventure, but in a relatively similar sized package, not too much larger, as you're only looking at about 8,000 tons, I believe, is the actual difference. A couple quick honorable mentions of 2026 new ships coming out. Before we get to our final one is, of course, the Four Seasons is actually launching their very first ship in the year of 2026. If you're not aware of that one, and if you're familiar with Captain Kate, you may know that she is actually going to be the captain. She left Celebrity Cruises and she will be captaining the first ship from Four Seasons. So we technically have a new cruise line in the game, although they're a very small luxury line. So that's kind of why I put it as the honorable mention, as it's not really a heavy hitter like the main four that we're going over today. We also have Explora Journeys Explora 3. So the Explora Journeys is actually a small part of MSC Cruises and their small luxury line. So they're getting their third ship with Explora 3 here in the summer of 2026 as well. So those are the two big honorable mentions. But diving into our final ship of today, we have the Legend of the Seas, the new world's largest cruise ship, or sharing the title, technically, if you really want to be that technical about it, with Icon and Star of the Seas. Star of the Seas just made her big debut back in August of this year, and of course Icon was back in early 2024. Legend of the Seas will actually be making her big debut in the Mediterranean for the summer of 2026, unlike her sister ships Icon and Star that came straight over to the United States. She's going to be sailing the Mediterranean for several months before moving down into Fort Lauderdale, Florida as the first Icon class ship in Fort Lauderdale, and she'll be making 6 and 8 night cruises. So she'll actually be offering something that the current Icon class don't. And that's longer cruises, technically by a day, but nonetheless longer cruises and even different itineraries. because Icon and Star kind of share the same itineraries, but out of Canaveral and Miami, whereas Legend will actually be offering something completely different from Fort Lauderdale, as she'll be going all the way down to Aruba and Curacao for some of those 8-night voyages, and other places like the Dominican Republic for those 6 nights. Legend of the Seas will have a few new offerings compared to her sisters as well, including a 2-level casino, which is the first time in Royal Caribbean's fleet having a multi-level casino like that. Having been through Icon and Star's casinos, it probably needs a little bit more space. Although very large, it does get very crowded in there, so it's a very welcome addition. We're also getting the Royal Railway Legend Station. From what we saw on Utopia of the Seas, it was a big hit with Utopia Station. So the Royal Railway is making its way over to Legend of the Seas in the summer of 2026 as well. So those are the 2 big changes as of right now. It looks like they're also recoloring the water slides. Very interesting, and of course coming in at 250,000 tons, which is, again, the largest cruise ship in the world by a pretty good margin. So Legend of the Seas is another very highly anticipated ship, and of course, me being the ship nerd I am, I will definitely try to be there, at least for the maiden arrival into Fort Lauderdale for her. So in the year of 2026, for the first time ever, we're getting 3 ships over 200,000 tons. We've had 2 multiple times in the past, including the year of 2025. So we're only growing as an industry, and these mega ships are continuing to come. But I do hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know down in the comments which one was your favorite. And again, if you're new to the channel, my name is Brandon. If you're a cruise nerd just like I am and you like videos like this, or if you want to catch live streams of sailoways from Port Canaveral and other Florida cruise ports every single weekend, that's actually what we've got going on in the background. If you want to catch those every single weekend, be sure to tune into those live streams. We even post ship spotting videos and even ship tours. So we have a lot of different cruise content here for you guys. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Again, comment down below what ship you're most looking forward to in the year of 2026. And with that, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.